Welcome. A country boy hero will survive if you follow his developing non-fiction Blackhand Breast mystery story. You'll be introduced to a true ongoing participation ebook on the borderline with plenty of ongoing controversy that we hope will be on the levels of our two favorite movies, The Deer Hunter and The Day the Earth Stood Still. Our story will begin asking for your help to end the ongoing debate surrounding this unusual, prehistoric, 300-million-year-old Blackhand sandstone fossil that resembles a human breast. This unique fossil was found south of Louisville, Ohio in 2003. Can it connect us with the past, present, and future in an unbelievable way? Is it extraterrestrial, a hero's contribution to draw attention, Mother Nature's design, or are they all one and the same? Does the Blackhand breast cross the borderline? We'll continue the story with a brief history on the Blackhand breast. In 2004, our family was camping and horseback riding on the Baker Farm south of Louisville in Hocking Hills. My sister worked at the local general store that displayed native Indian relics. She told us that they had an unusual Indian relic that a well-liked popular Vietnam veteran hero brought in and was generating a lot of attention. She knew my father would be very interested. He met the elderly gentleman that found the fossil and seemed to have a friendly connection immediately. He liked my father and trusted him and agreed to let him take the Blackhand breast to Columbus, Ohio for research. The question is, does the backside match the human anatomy? My dad's first research started with his family doctor who he thought could help with an anatomical question. With great fanfare, the doctor stated it was very similar to the anatomy of a human breast and was the center of attention and debate in his office. His next research resource was a sister who had 50 years of nursing experience. Upon her examination, she stated that it did have a remarkable resemblance to a human breast. So we had two positives. With this information, we took the fossil to the professor at the Ohio Historical Society. This time my father took his video camera to document the conversation. The first video was taken at the Ohio Historical Society. The second video was taken at the Ohio State Genealogical Department. We hope the professional comments will help us find the truth. Enjoy.
Darker zones, including the reddish zones to almost blackish zones at the top, would also likely be iron. Whether the iron concentration in it is enough to deflect a needle of a compass, I can't say. I don't have a compass here, but that would be a test that river flowing out of the mountains to our east into Ohio 340 million years ago. Okay, this type of dripping is very common in limestones like what we have in central Ohio. It's much less common in sandstones. But I've seen lots of examples very similar to this. Not as specific as this, but somewhat similar, and depositing it up. And I would say 90% certain that that's what it is.
Yeah, if you look into this under a microscope or something, you see it look like human pores.
Well, all rocks have pores in them. I mean, that's how rocks hold water.
Okay, but this here, it looks like hair, where hair might have been around.
Yeah, well, you know, when you have a preconceived idea of what something is, you can imagine all kinds of things. And I can certainly see where people look at this and think what you're saying and what your doctor said. But again, I think if you show it to any geologist, someone who works with rocks, they would confirm pretty close to what I've said, maybe with some variation, but pretty much like that. Another person you might want to talk to would be Dale Ganitovic. He's curator of the Geology Museum over at Ohio State University.
Probably the other big thing I would say is that if a stone, it couldn't have the anatomy of a breast, right? It couldn't duplicate it.
Well, I mean, you're getting some similarities. It's not a duplication, no.
A medical person look at that and say, yes, that is human.
You know,
didn't take it to Dale, right?
Yeah, I would confirm my opinion with Dale and see what he has to say, and he may suggest some other people that you might want to. It could be if it is Blackhand sandstone, yes.
Why is that Blackhand? Is that older
No, that's just the age period that comes from. And Laurelville and areas like that are within the region of Blackhand sandstone.
That gives a lot more information on it. But they're, well, that's probably all I need to know. One girl told us that it looked like they cut off with a switchblade.
Okay. It's an interesting object.
Right.
But it's interesting. You know, it's the kind of object that you can put out and get people, you can get big discussions going with it.
Yeah, correct.
And so from that standpoint, it's interesting.
And the doctor.
At the end of the first video, you'll hear my father tell the professor about the blonde-haired girl who said that she thought it looked like it was cut off with a switchblade. This ended their conversation in good humor. The professor was very helpful with his 90% sure statement and his advice to see his colleague at OSU. Still didn't answer our question, is the fossil anatomically correct? Our further research took us to the OSU Museum. You can now view the second video.
Very unique rock.
What's that meteorite?
Meteorite.
Man, that looks like I've come close to seeing some of that stuff.
I'd like to. They're worth a little bit of money.
Well, that's some big stuff here. Look at that. What's that? Quartz. New York.
Cheryl would love it up here.
We're still here. We're still here. I didn't come in like no whirlwind.
The professor at OSU seemed very interested, but seemed at a loss for words. He still didn't answer our anatomical question. At the end of the video, you heard an elderly woman and the professor discussing them coming in like a whirlwind, not knowing they were still in the museum. My father's research ended with good times and good humor. He took the breast back to the old veteran and showed him the videos. After he viewed them, he thought my father was on TV. He told him if he was that interested that he could have the Blackhand Breast. With great appreciation, my father accepted the offer and promised to keep him informed. My father retired 4 years later and started to follow his passions and dreams for a common goal to help the world in troubled times and try to bring peace through truth for a change. After 2.5 years, he found himself reconnected with the Blackhand Breast and the old veteran buddy and other heroes in similar ways. He was guided to a very controversial 85-year-old top secret government document that was kept suppressed and top secret for 60 years. Our story continues on our new, completely condensed and re-edited free participation ebook at www.peacethroughtruth.com. The truth should not be controversial. Pope Benedict XVI, Yonkers, New York.